stewardship team has asked me to make a few statements relating to our campaign. They also invited me to talk about my spiritual journey, but as you know, it's pretty long, so let me just summarize it and say we, Allie and myself, have been blessed for over 34 years of attending TPC and being part of this family. You have offered us guidance, you have offered us help, support over those years, and by doing so, you are leading us towards a fuller life. Thank you. Now, two other things I'd like to do is make a kind of a general discussion of stewardship. And then in closing, I would like to draw our attention to some of the purposes for TPC. When I talk about definitions, you can look up in several places. They always seem to me to be kind of a real general nature. They may read something like, stewardship is the careful and responsible management of something entrusted in one's care. What might come to mind might be the environment. We are responsible for the environment. And of course, there would be our time. Our time is precious. We have to be good stewards of our time. And during the past few weeks, you have been talking about stewardship here at church. Our responsibility to be good stewards of TPC. The focus during the past 3 weeks has been primarily on giving, pledging money, which is indeed a very important part of fellowship, of stewardship. However, the giving might also refer to one's time or talents, both of which are also precious here at TPC. As a Christian, we recognize stewardship as an invitation from God. He is asking each of us to help him as he does his work on earth. Pastor Melanie, recently wrote in one of her writings that as Christians, the reason we give is love. 1 John chapter 3 speaks of real love. And I'm going to read a couple of verses from there. For this is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. And then verses 17 and 18. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or a sister in need, but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words and speech, but with actions and in truth. We might conclude then that stewardship, another way to look at stewardship, is indeed, it is an invitation from God to help him. And we can help him by giving. And in giving, our reason for giving is out of love, and it's love that is surrounded by action and truth. Over the past few weeks, you've heard people speak from this podium about perhaps areas where your giving can be of help to TPC. One spoke on the family, and boy, TPC is certainly a wonderful family and gives each of us support. The other individual spoke basically, or partially, let me put it that way, on our buildings and the need for these buildings to support our goals here at TPC. What I'd like to do today, in closing, is briefly bring to your attention 3 other areas where your giving can benefit our church and benefit God's work. They are actually, I'm picking 3 from the cover of the bulletin, where it states the purpose of TPC. We're to love God, but the next one, we're to love our neighbors. And as we know, our neighbors are more than this family. Our neighbors are our community. And we know that community stretches from beyond the Oviedo area. Over the years through our missions, we have stretched as far as Romania, where 17 went. We have stretched to Haiti, I believe, 2 trips. And I don't remember all the others, but I know we have been to Virginia, South Dakota, and I believe Tennessee for areas. So it's going out of the church. We have needs to send out. And also, connected with our missions, we also have service, daily bread, fresh start. So there's a need to support all of these activities that we provide for the community. The second mentioned in our purpose statement is we are to be active disciples. Active disciples. Not just disciples, but active disciples. Wow, that puts a big burden on us. That means if we are going to go out, part of being a disciple is share the gospel. We need to know the gospel, understand the gospel. We have to know how to interact with people, be attentive listeners, and so on. So there's a responsibility of education within this church for our youth and continuing. Our educating and growing never stops. The third one I'd like to mention, that's one in our purpose statement, is bring others into fellowship. We're told, we're asked to bring others into fellowship. That signifies we are to reach out. We are to share the word. We are to share what TPC does and eventually invite them in as members. And I believe, if I'm correct, we're going to have a new members class next Sunday. In closing, let me thank you for your pledges. I know they are given out of love and in support of God's word. Thank you.